members of the Diplomatic Corps, fellow ambassadors. I would like to thank the Minister for convening us today at a time when the world is growing more uncertain and unpredictable. A world where we see great power rivalry on the rise and coercive economic tools deployed to gain geopolitical advantage. But in this new reality, there are also positive stories that need to be told. And one of them is the partnership between the European Union and South Africa. The only strategic partnership of the European Union in Africa, and only of 10 such partnerships of the European Union in the world. A strategic partnership that does not stop growing and expanding thanks to its strong foundations grounded in multilateralism, the respect for the international and humanitarian law, and the promotion of democracy and human rights, as well as shared prosperity and mutually beneficial investments in South African and European economies. It is our long-held belief in these guiding principles at the core of our strategic partnership that makes the European Union and its member states stand up and denounce whenever we witness violations and breaches of those principles around the world. Let me also recall that these guiding principles were underlined at the successful 7th African Union European and Union Summit in Luanda in November last year, where the theme for the summit was advancing peace and prosperity through effective multilateralism. Now I'm speaking on behalf of my fellow ambassadors from the European Union when I proceed to highlight 3 wars and conflicts that are straining our international rules-based order. On 24 February of this year, we marked 4 years since Russia started its full-scale invasion of Ukraine. A reckless and brutal war of aggression that is estimated to have cost the lives of nearly 2 million people, including citizens of South Africa and other African countries, tricked into fighting for Russia. This is the heaviest casualty rate suffered in any war since World War II. But the impact of Russia's illegal war extends beyond casualties. Around 20,000 Ukrainian children are recorded to be deported and forcibly transferred to Russia, with deliberate aim to erase their Ukrainian identity. This makes the ongoing mediation the role of South Africa to facilitate their return so urgent and important. We support South Africa's effort and work together, as we did recently in the UN General Assembly, to adopt a resolution on the return of all Ukrainian children forcibly transferred or deported by Russia since 2014. Let me remind you of one simple fact. Ukrainians are fighting with extraordinary courage not only to defend their people and territory. They are fighting for the rules-based international order and in defense of the principles of the UN Charter that the overwhelming majority of us hold dear: independence, sovereignty, territorial integrity, and the obligation to settle internal disputes by peaceful means. Ukraine has continuously demonstrated a commitment to a just and lasting peace, and the European Union and its member states have supported, are supporting, and will support Ukraine in this endeavor. All the more so when Russia keeps perpetrating war crimes on the ground, deliberately striking homes and civilian infrastructure, energy facilities and heating systems, leaving countless families without power, water or heating. Russia is showing no willingness for peace. We must not let the Russian war of aggression become a normality in the international system. Europe has a very special responsibility towards Ukraine. Without support, Ukrainians can rebuild their country for the next generation. We would welcome South Africa's participation in that 5th Ukraine Recovery Conference, which will be co-hosted by Poland and Ukraine in Gdańsk on 25th-26th June. On Gaza and West Bank, the European Union has repeatedly shown its commitment to a comprehensive, just and lasting peace based on the two-state solution, in accordance with the relevant UN Security Council resolutions, as well as the recent UN General Assembly resolution voted in September last year during the high-level week, where two democratic states, Israel and Palestine, live side by side in peace within secure and recognized borders. It is a position also shared by South Africa. In that context, the European Union has supported international efforts for the implementation of the peace process in the Middle East, which entails the permanent disarmament of Hamas and other non-state armed groups, the full withdrawal of Israeli forces from the Gaza Strip, and the deployment of the temporary international stabilization force. The humanitarian situation in Gaza is nothing short of catastrophic, and as the largest providers of humanitarian aid to Gaza and major contribution to UN Relief and Works Agency, we have called on Israel to allow immediate, unimpeded access of humanitarian assistance and to stop unilateral actions to expand its presence in the West Bank. In response to the continued and growing settler violence against Palestinian civilians, we are working on restrictive measures against extremist settlers and entities and organizations that support them. Long term, the European Union will engage with international and regional stakeholders to contribute to the reconstruction and redevelopment of Gaza, and will continue to support the Palestinian authorities so that it can take back control in Gaza. Developments in Iran and the wider region threaten regional and global security. The European Union is calling for de-escalation and maximum restraint, the protection of civilians and civilian infrastructure, and the full respect of international law by all parties, including the principles of the United Nations Charter and international humanitarian law. Restoring the freedom of navigation in the Strait of Hormuz is a priority. We have strongly condemned Iran's indiscriminate military strikes against countries in the region and called to immediately cease these attacks. Likewise, the European Union will continue to stand by Lebanon and its people, and will continue to support the Lebanese state's sovereignty, territorial integrity, and state-building efforts, as well as efforts to set up a high-level dialogue with the Israeli authorities. We have strongly condemned Hezbollah's decision to attack Israel in support of Iran, and have welcomed the decision by the Lebanese authorities to ban Hezbollah military activities. The European Union and its members have been in the forefront of the major security crisis affecting the continent. Sudan faces an extremely dire humanitarian catastrophe, as well as a political and security deadlock provoked by the ongoing civil war. We have been at the forefront of the humanitarian support of Sudan, particularly following the recent Berlin Conference. Dear Minister, Deputy Minister, and fellow ambassadors, these wars and conflicts only led to massive loss of life and to a reverse of the social and economic gains made over the past decades. It set us back to a time when might was right. This is a world where we all stand to lose. This is not a world where we can thrive. The European Union and its member states will continue to work tirelessly to end these wars and conflicts and to achieve just, lasting, and comprehensive peace. And we will do so with South Africa and other partners around the world that pursue these objectives. Thank you.